Hi, I'm Monique Mitchell, and this is my final presentation for my exhibit Consumed: How Devices Control Us. I'm going to walk you through the exhibit itself, the visual system behind it, the interactive components, and a few highlights from my exhibit book. I'll also talk about two spreads that I think are really successful and one that still needs work. This exhibit focuses on digital addiction, not just screen time, but how apps and devices are literally engineered to control our behavior. I wanted the experience to feel like you're stepping into the attention economy, where everything is designed to pull you in a little deeper. The look is very intentional, with sharp grids, loops, circles, repetition, and a high contrast palette. For the bottom section, I used a dithered halftone over silhouettes of people looking down at their phones. It gives them this faded, disconnected look, which helps establish the emotional tone of the exhibit. These are the foundation panels that open the exhibit. They break down daily screen time, behavioral impacts, and different addiction indicators. I kept the layout extremely structured with tight margins, a clear grid, and circular graphics that reinforce the idea of habits looping over and over. Each section is meant to feel like a dashboard or a tracking system, which mirrors the way our devices monitor us in real life. The visuals are minimal but intentional, so the data stays easy to read. This is the core of my visual system. Everything comes from loops, rings, and repeated shapes. The halftone gradients add that slightly digital, slightly hypnotic feeling. I chose a limited palette, mostly black, green, and white, to keep things sharp and consistent. Even the typography follows this logic. The type hierarchy is rigid on purpose, and the spacing stays consistent so the system feels controlled, like the subject matter. For interactivity, I included several QR codes that let the viewer explore stats, processes, and deeper explanations. Since this is a digital exhibit, I wanted a way to make the experience feel a little more tactile and user-driven. Scanning a code mimics the idea of slipping into another information loop, which fits the theme. The Wheel of Lost Time is the most important interactive piece. It represents all the things we trade away for just 5 more minutes, like sleep, chores, mental clarity, relationships, and actual free time. It's designed like a game spinner to show how random and slippery time becomes when we're stuck scrolling. My biggest challenge was figuring out which interactions actually made the story stronger versus which ones felt gimmicky. I cut a lot, but this one stayed because it reinforces the idea of time disappearing in cycles. For the exhibit book, I carried the same visual language throughout the whole thing. Clean grids, loops, halftones, and a consistent rhythm between text and imagery. I focused on clarity and pacing because the book has a lot of research and process work. I didn't want it to feel overwhelming, so the white space and the tight hierarchy do most of the heavy lifting. This is one of my most successful spreads. The halftone ring pulls the eye into the center, and the hierarchy feels clean and intentional. There's a good balance between white space and content, and it matches the visual system without being too busy. The rhythm between the title, the image, and the body text feels really cohesive. This spread is also really successful because it shows my exploratory work without breaking the system. Even though the imagery is more expressive and colorful, the grid keeps it grounded. The circular forms echo the exhibit visuals, and the layout has a nice flow. It feels like a natural extension of the exhibit rather than a separate project. This spread was more challenging. The content is fine, but visually it feels a little stiff. The spacing could be improved, and the alignment doesn't have the same flow as the other pages. If I had more time, I'd bring in a subtle graphic element or adjust the hierarchy so it feels more connected to the rest of the system. It works, but it's definitely the one spread that still needs refinement. I want to end by thanking you for getting me through this semester. I know I had a rough stretch with being sick and falling behind, but you were patient and supportive the whole time. I'm grateful for that.